I've launched a newsletter called the 5 day newsletter challenge on getting your life together. And so today marked day one of getting your life together. So if you're just joining in, please say hi, or if you are watching the replay, please comment down below. So today is kind of like a story time on my procrastination days and what I did in college to procrastinate, because it was really, really crazy what I did in college to get an assignment done. So today is going to be that, my story time of that. So where do we begin? So it was 2015, 2016, and I was in a community college, and I was also working at Domino's. And I was in a music class, and in music class, I needed to turn in this assignment, this like music essay assignment. So I had to go attend to a show. And in this show, I had to write an assignment about it, about like, oh, what happened, and like all this specific like musicality terminology and stuff like that. So it was very, very specific. And I was a huge procrastinator. I waited till the last very minute to freaking go to a show. So we had it all semester long. We knew all along this assignment was supposed to come up, that we were going to have a like we would have this like essay that we needed to write. So we had all semester long to do it. And of course, my procrastinating self waited until the last very minute to get this done. So this particular weekend was the last show I was able to attend to write this essay. And then on top of that, it was also I think it was like a soccer tournament. There was like a soccer game on TV. So at Domino's, it was going to get flooded with people. I was assigned to work from like, I don't even remember, like 3 to 7 or something like that. So I was scheduled to work that specific day. And I was like, okay, this is my last day to get this assignment done. I'm scheduled to work that day as well. And I'm like, either I can call off, I can text my manager and say like, hey, I need today off because I need to do an assignment, and risk the fact of them saying no. And I was afraid that they were going to say no, and then I was just stuck having to go to work or doing a no call, no show. And I didn't want to get fired. So I was like, I can text them and they could say no, and then I'm gonna have to do a no call, no show, which would end up leading me to be getting fired, which is not something I want happening. So I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fake an emergency. Like there was some family emergency and that I needed to go to the ER because of something that happened. I messaged that to my supervisor that day, and I was like, okay, I need to call off. There was an emergency. I can't go to work. Okay, whatever. And I was like, cool, like that's done. I got myself out of work, but they wanted a doctor's note. So I was like, whatever, I'll figure that out as I go along this day. So I messaged my partner, because we had to go with a partner that for this assignment. I messaged my partner saying like, hey, I'm going to be able to go to this show with you. So like, get ready, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to go pick him up. We went to the show. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, how the heck am I going to get this doctor's note? Because if I don't get this doctor's note, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. So what I decided to do was I decided to go back home. It was like around 10 o'clock, and wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, go to the ER and fake some sort of, I don't even know what I said, honestly, to be able to go through the ER. But I think I said I had like some sort of stomach ache, or that there was like a weird bump somewhere on my skin. I don't even remember what it was. The point is that I lied in the ER, and I spent from, I think it was like 5 a.m. all the way up to like, I don't even remember what time I got out of the ER. I think it was like around 8 o'clock. So I spent a good few hours in the ER. And mind you, that next day after the show, I had to go back into work and turn in this paper. So I also needed the date signed. I needed a signature. I needed a date signed. So I thought, oh, going the next day, there would be no problem. So I go in, I go to this I go to the ER and I get through all of the little like vital checks and getting into a room, and they told me, okay, like you're all good to go. Here's your medication, blah, blah, blah. We'll send it over to your CVS or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, can I get a doctor's note? And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll give you a doctor's note. She gives me the doctor's note. And of course, my dumb self back then, mind you, I was only like 19 years old. My dumb self was like, okay, cool, like I'm in the clear. And then I realized, like, oh my God, this is not dated for the day that I had called off. This is for the following day. So I kept contemplating in my head, like, should I forge the number and like change the number so it shows up like the next day? And I was like, no, 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 no. I think it should be fine. It'll show that maybe like stayed over the night at the ER. It should be okay, right? So I go into work later that day and I turn in my doctor's note. And this is where the funny part comes in. So I turn in this doctor's note. I go into work like as a normal. And I think a couple weeks later, we all had like a manager meeting. We all had a meeting, and they specifically called out this doctor's note. They were like, you guys can get really in trouble if you guys fake doctor's notes. We can fire you. We can call the doctor's office and we can figure out what happened, what really happened, and we could figure everything out and know if you lied or not. And I remember 19 years old. Okay, I remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. They're gonna call and I'm gonna get fired from. I'm gonna get fired. Like, this is not good. And looking back, now that I work in the medical field, I'm like, there's no way in hell that they could call and know what I went to the ER for, because that's violating a HIPAA violation. So I was like, oh my God, like, first of all, my naive self thinking, like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I remember crying and feeling all the feels and then just so stressed out. I'm thinking, like, oh my God, I'm never going to do that again. But then afterwards, now that I'm older, I'm thinking back and I'm like, that was so stupid. I should have never stressed out about that, because there was no way that they would be able to get to know what happened in the ER. So anyways, I finally turned in this paper last minute. So point of this story was that I literally jumped through hoops. I procrastinated myself all the way up to the last very second to turn in this assignment, and did so much more extra work just to be able to turn in this assignment, only just because I didn't want to do it the first time. And it's like, this is why I always emphasize on the strategy, and this is what I said in my newsletter. I always emphasize this in the strategy, my strategy in my videos as well. Just freaking do it. It doesn't matter. Just freaking do it. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't feel like it in the moment, even if you want to procrastinate until later, because then later becomes a huge problem, because you won't know what happens later. There is no much more time after that. You don't know what other responsibilities you're going to be facing. Just do it if you have the time in the moment, because that's essentially what I did, right? I had time throughout the entire semester to be able to complete this assignment, but of course Giraldi was like, I'm going to leave that for the future me. And so I left it over for future me to handle it. Future me had to go into work, and now I had to do double the work because I had to cancel work, go to the ER, fake this doctor's note, and then go back to work and get in trouble for it. So in the end, it's like, if I would have just done it on a weekend that I was off, or had enough time to tell my employer, like, hey, I need to request this day off because I have an assignment that I need to go do, everything would have been all fine and dandy. But because I procrastinated my way into completing this assignment, I just ended up having this funny leftover story and a life lesson learned of just get over it and just do it. And so that's what I wrote in the newsletter for today, is to just get over with it and just do it. And you don't know how powerful that statement is, and how powerful just getting stuff done when you have the time in the moment. For example, today, I didn't feel like getting online and saying this story, even though I already knew that even though I already knew I committed myself to going live every single Friday because I wanted to present myself online and I wanted to be able to talk to you guys and just have a conversation with you, even though no one's here. But I wanted to show up, not only for you guys, but for myself, to prove to myself that my strategies work, of just getting it over and just doing it. Because you don't know in the long term how consistency will build up and where you can end up with just doing it and being consistent with it. Because just imagine if every single Friday from here on to the rest of my life, how many more people would be online? I could try it. I don't know if I will try it, but for the next 5 days of me sending out these newsletters, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going live for the next 5 days. Today's day 1. I'm going to keep going live for the next 5 days and just showing up and seeing who gets online and wants to have a conversation with me, who wants to get online and talk about all the funny stuff that has happened over the years and what life lessons we've learned. But like I said, I didn't even want to get online, but I did because I committed to it and I said it in my newsletter that I would. And so I'm here. And so if you're still watching this from from the replay, I just wanted to say thank you so much for spending the time with me. And if you want to sign up for this 5-day newsletter on getting your life together, and so every single week on Friday, I'll be getting on live. I'll be sending out this newsletter every Friday in the mornings. You'll be getting this one strategy that you can start implementing in your life and getting your life together. So if you're trying to pick up the pieces and you're trying to get to this goal and you just don't know how, no matter how hard you're trying, you just can't just figure it out, then let me do the hard work for you by giving you possibly advice that you've never heard before. Because essentially, all this advice that is given out there is not good at all. It's all of the same fluff stuff. And I wanted to share my procrastination story time as a testament that I was a procrastinator. Like I literally was such a big, huge procrastinator, and I've learned to be more disciplined. So if anyone knows any about this stuff, it's gonna be me. And so, like I said, I'm wanting to share my strategies that I've learned, and I want to share everything that all the mistakes that I've made over in my life and how you can do them better, and you don't have to waste time. You don't have to fake a doctor's note to get stuff done. You don't have to call off work to be able to get stuff done. If you just focus on what time you have right now, what needs to be done, and just getting it over with. I have a bed full of laundry right now and a floor full of dirty clothes. And guess what I'm going to do right after this? Folding my clothes. Not washing because my mom's washing, but folding all my clothes because I definitely need to do that. And then I'm getting off of this live and, moving on with my life. And I won't have to think about those clothes being on the bed anymore because I got it done when I had the time because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Tomorrow might be a lot more busier. Sunday I might be a lot more busier. So I'm going to get it stuff done right now. So just wanted to say thank you so much for watching if you have continued to watch it. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Sign up for the newsletter. The link to it will be in the description below. Okay, bye guys. Mwah.